Extravaganza, the best place for indie and alternative artists. I'm Catherine Barner, and today I'm at Lucky You Lounge with Indian Goat. How
Hello.
you guys doing?
Good, how are you?
Good.
So can you just kind of introduce yourselves and give us a breakdown of who you are before we kind of jump into the interview?
Yeah, I'm Garrett. My name's Garrett. I play guitar and sing in the band.
My name is Travis, and I play the drums.
So what's your favorite part about performing at Lucky You?
Lucky You is a relatively new venue, so I mean it's got this big thing going for it right now as far as coming up in the city, and I think that's to be a part of that is fun. It's always we've played here. This is our second time here now, so I think that's awesome. The sound is great here. The room is very well put together as far as acoustics and stuff like that goes. It's just a really good vibe in there. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think just what he was saying about the sound, I think they took a lot of time to make sure that everything was as good as they could make it for how the room is set up there. And I remember the first time we played here a few months ago, I just couldn't wait to come back and play again because I could hear myself and I could hear him, and we just had a really good show, and this is just an awesome venue. So
Awesome. So before we started rolling on the interview, you told me you guys have been together for about 2 years as a band. How did you meet, and how did Indian Goats kind of form?
We met in high school-ish. Right? Yeah, I don't know. Travis is the first person to ever get me drunk. He got me hammered drunk in like my sophomore year, high school.
And it was just history from there.
Yeah. We worked together.
Haven't stopped since.
Worked together at Noodle Express. And
Pita
then
Pit.
Pita Pit, fucking everywhere, man. Can we swear in this?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. And then we kind of would jam at his house a lot and didn't even think about playing music together like progressively until like 2 years ago when I approached him with this idea for this project. And
Were you guys playing music in high school?
yeah, with
kinda
other
separately?
people.
Okay.
Yeah.
So where did the name Indian Goat come from?
Well, we recorded our album in my basement, and my mouse pad had like a goat on it, and we needed a band name, and we figured like something would.
It was White Goat first.
It was
and
White
then,
Goat.
And then that was like already a band or something like that.
Yeah.
And then Garrett's like, "What about Indian Goat?" And I was like, "Hell yeah, that's like I like that."
Yeah,
even
because like
better."
Indian goat, a lot of Indian
Like
goats
Indian
have
goat.
two heads. They're born with two heads and shit like that. So it
Like we're a
correlates with the
two-piece band, so we just thought it kind of fit. And we actually get asked that question a lot. Like, people want to know like what kind of Indian, and
Yeah.
we're like, no, dude, like that's not that. This is
Not what we mean.
That's not what we mean. We are not trying to be like not politically correct by our band name whatsoever. I mean, it is
asked multiple times.
yeah,
at
it is
every
like
show.
they're like what kind of Indian? It's like it is just a band name, and we thought a two-headed goat was cool, and
Yeah.
like that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes for some cool merch.
Yeah.
It
Hell
does
yeah,
make
it
for
does.
some cool merch.
Doesn't it?
I
That's what I thought too.
So, a couple of my friends who also listen to you guys, the one comparison they make is you two to Royal Blood. What do you think about that comparison?
I think I have heard one song by them, and I couldn't even tell you what it is.
Yeah.
Don't really listen to it, but that's cool. I mean, I know who they are.
Yeah.
And do you know who they are?
Yeah, no, I might be pissing a lot of people off. By
Royal
saying I've
Royal
never
Blood's that band that's
fucking
like
heard
Jimmy
Royal
Page's
Blood.
Jimmy Page's son, and right? Isn't
I'm
that
not
it?
sure about that fact, but it's basically just a duo, and it's drums and guitar and vocal, and that's it. Basically the same setup that you guys have, and it's very similar kind of music.
Word.
That's cool.
All right.
Right on.
So since you guys don't listen to them, who do you listen to for your influences?
I don't know. Like, I think I don't know, man. I really, there's not a lot of influence behind Indian Goat for me, at least. It's more just we just get in a basement and play music. It started on a whim of just trying to be very loud and heavy, I think the idea of the band, was influenced a little bit by this band called A Shadow of Jaguar out of Brooklyn. There's these cats that came and toured through Spokane that I played a set with another band I was in, and they were like a two-piece. And For a few songs, they'd rock a slide guitar, and I was like, oh, that sounds cool. So I started writing like slide music based on them. So I'd say they're an influence for the beginning of the band. But as far as the writing process and like the heaviness and all that, it kind of just happens organically. Not to sound pompous or uninspired by any means, but what Indian Goat does is just very organic.
What about you, Travis?
Well, Garrett listens to a lot of like different kinds of music. He knows about bands that like I've never even heard of and shit like that. Like I listen to classic rock, and I like Led Zeppelin a lot. I like Metallica. But as far as drumming influence, I would say that Primus is probably my biggest drumming influence. Tim Alexander from Primus, and which is cool because we've been told before getting off stage that we sound like Primus, and that's like the coolest fucking compliment to me because they're my favorite band, And but yeah, I mean, I guess on top of that, Nirvana's a huge influence for me. Dave Grohl, the way he plays drums, like I think kind of comes through in how I play drums a little bit. Like it's very simple and it's hard. It's hard hitting and play it like you mean it, kind of thing. So
the one song that stuck out to me when I was listening to both your albums is Eileen Wuornos. Is that how you say it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So where did the inspiration for that song come from? Because I was like, who is this person? And I Googled her, and I was like, oh, she killed a bunch of people.
She's a serial killer,
Yeah. So, she's just this, she's a serial killer, down south, mainly New Orleans area. She traveled, like, in Florida and shit, she was basically like a traveling prostitute that would just kill men. And not to get into her backstory, but the reason for the song is I have a very morbid fascination with serial killers.
Don't we all?
Yeah, exactly.
I think they're awesome.
Yeah, and awesome's one word for them. The story, but it's I wrote the song. The appeal is awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're not awesome as people.
Yeah,
we can all agree on that. But
It's always so fascinating, like what makes someone tick to do that kind of thing.
Yeah. So I read a book on her, and so I just wrote a song about her because she's insane, and I joke about the fact that I'm in love with her, but it's stupid.
That's
but
just something dumb to say before we start playing the song.
No, the song's just about her.
She's a serial killer, and I'm in love with her.
There was a point where we had merch that had the Toolbox Killers on them.
Yeah.
And that didn't.
Were sick.
They were
you
sick.
Should get long sleeves of those.
Yeah, it didn't go over too well. So, yeah.
Maybe not.
But we should make Eileen shirts though. But that's just the reason behind that song.
Okay.
Just read a book and wrote a song, and there it is.
Awesome. And speaking of writing songs, you have Indian Goat 1 and 2. Is there an Indian Goat 3 coming anytime soon?
Yeah, we're currently writing Indian Goat 3, and it takes a huge turn for what we're basically known for as Indian Goat. So it's we're basically not to have not to give away anything for the album, but we're losing the slide for the album, and we've dropped the tuning a whole step, and it's taking a very dark and fuzzy and
just heavy
stoner rock turn.
Yeah.
So it's about 20,000 fucking times heavier than anything we've written thus far. And we're really excited for it. So
awesome. Well, is there anything else you'd like to say to the audience before I let you go? Where can they connect with you?
Anywhere. We're on Instagram. Not anywhere. We're on Instagram, Facebook,
Spotify.
Yeah, you can hear our music on literally any streaming platform there is, we're on. I mean, even like the weird fucking unknown ones, we're out there. You can find our music anywhere. But, if you want to reach out to us to get a hold of us for any reason, everything from Facebook Messenger and Instagram Messenger goes straight into our pockets on our phones, and we reply super quick. And we always like talking and trying to book shit and doing all that. So. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much. And if you at home enjoyed this interview, make sure to go down below, click that like and subscribe button. I do tons of awesome interviews with indie artists just like Indian Goat. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.